Okay, hey everyone. My name is Tyler Weldon. I work with the Alabama Cooperative Extension System, and today I'm going to I think way I decided to do it. I'm going to go through and show you kind of where we started with making some apps and how we finished, and then kind of results of how we did. Um, so it's kind of just a overview of where the ideas came from and what led to it. So these are the ones I'm going to talk about. The first one's not actually an app; it's just their logo. But then the other ones we're going to talk about are Smart Yards, Fertilize, and Sow. And Fertilize and Smart Yards you can actually download in the Android and the Apple Store right now. Sow is in review, so fingers crossed that it's going to pass review today. It went into review today. With Apple, it sits in waiting for about 8 days. So that tells you how many apps get submitted every day with Apple. Because I submitted it last Wednesday and it just now got to review. And sometimes it can go review in sometimes it can go through review in like 20 minutes, but sometimes it can sit in review for 3 days. So you never know. But it's in review, and then in the next couple of days it'll roll out on Android as well. So let's start. Some fun statistics. I'm sure everyone knows about all these, but I found these last year. I thought they were cool. Pew Internet and American Life said that 56% of American adults are now smartphone owners. And then Cisco said by the end of 2013 there will be more mobile devices on Earth than there are people. I don't know. I think that was pretty accurate. I think that's pretty. That maybe hit the nail on the hammer right there. And then Morgan Stanley said mobile is predicted to be bigger than the internet in 5 years, and that was in 2010. So we're now on 2014, and I personally think that it's bigger. And I think when they're saying mobile, they're saying the mobile platform is going to would surpass the desktop thing. I know ever since I had an iPad, the first time I turned on my MacBook Pro was this past year because I wanted to work at home a little bit, and that was like the first time in a year and a half. So I think mobile is moving very rapidly. So when we decided 2 years ago, and I will tell you right now, don't be scared by all this talk about making apps and stuff. My undergraduate is in horticulture, and my master's degree is in horticulture. So 2 years ago, I started this. I just had a will, and we just jumped in, crash course. And so don't be scared. You don't have to have a degree in software engineering. Just the way we did it, you can do it as well. So first, we needed an idea. So we said, okay, we want to make an app, but we don't have an idea. Right? I think some of you may have realized the same thing. Hey, or someone may come to you and say, hey, you got to start making more apps. And then you come back and say, well, we don't have an idea. So then we realized that ideas are all around us. So my first question to you guys is, how many people have ever helped or written an extension publication that's in the room? Okay, well, I say then you guys have made an app. Because if you think about it, before electronic apps, there were paper apps, right? These were your applications. Before we had mobile phones, we had these publications, and they told you everything from how to pick your soil to how to build a raised bed to which vegetables you can plant in these days. So I say everyone has made an app. They're just our paper apps. And so this is what we kind of ran with. And so these were our ideas. We went through, and the next three slides are the foundation of the apps that we've made so far. So the first one was Smart Yards, and basically this is our publication that teaches people in Alabama how to have a sustainable landscape. It's an idea that was adapted from Florida, and a lot of people I know in the Southeast, Clemson has this program, Tennessee has this program, and so it teaches people to have a sustainable landscape. But some of the questions we keep getting from that was like, but what grass do I have? Or some from this publication would say, well, when do I prune my azaleas? And so these are kind of questions that we always got from these pubs, and we kind of decided, okay, maybe this is some of the things we need to put in our app. The other paper app that we have, that's probably one of our, if not the most used app, is the Vegetable Gardener. I'm pretty sure probably every extension agency has something like this. And this was our how to have a home gardener. This is, they say, hey, I want to start my home garden. We hand them this paper app and say, there you go. This is how you do it. But we still always got the question, what about what can I plant today? They don't want to have to read through the publication and say, okay, I got to follow this. Just tell me what I can plant. Let me just call you and you just tell me. That way I don't have to find it. And so that's the kind of the idea we had that we decided to run with when we made that app. And the last one is kind of the home soil testing, how to use the report. I know if you guys are similar, sometimes when the end user, like, we always say before someone calls and says, hey, what can I fertilize? And I say, well, have you got a soil test? And they say, no. I say, well, you got to get a soil test. Then I'll tell you what you can fertilize. But a lot of times when they got the soil test readout, they kind of get confused, because us scientists, we see P2O5, and we're like, oh, that's, understand, but they see that, and they're like, this is, I don't know what P2O5 is. My bag doesn't say P2O5. And so, this pub right here kind of breaks that down and gives them the acronyms and stuff. But we still got questions. All right, well, still, just how do I do the calculations? How about I just call you, and I tell you what my soil test said, and then you just tell me what to apply. And that's the kind of the idea that we had. We say, well, okay, well, from those, the questions that we always got, well, these may be, let's make some apps on this. So the first one we made was Smart Yards, and we launched this one last year. April will be a year ago. And it has 4 topics that we thought were the most important. So we have lawns, pruning, water, and then we wanted a way for people to connect back to us. And so in the 2.0 update, we added an Ask Us feature, and this has actually been proven to be pretty cool because we keep getting questions, and we not just get questions from Alabama, we get questions from other places. So if anybody in here is from Indiana, I just got a question from a guy in Indiana I need some help with. So if anybody's here or in the Midwest area, I have a grass question that I need answering. But it was great because this also still went back to our publication of teaching our 4 main points of Smart Yards, be smart, have a plan, right place, right plant, that kind of mentality. And so it was really cool. The second app we made, we just released this one about a couple weeks ago, and it's called Fertilize. And basically we said it was, you got to compete with the private industry, so we say it's the ultimate fertilizer calculator. And what it does is it includes organic and synthetic sources. And we decided that, if you click these, it gives you a predefined list of fertilizers. Because as you know, with the EPA, more and more, harping on not using phosphorus fertilizers, we wanted to secretly guide the hand of the end user to not use those fertilizers. So like our predefined synthetic sources are technically most of the most popular sources they can get at a Home Depot or a Lowe's. We just actually put the actual chemical name, the nutrient name, instead of actually putting like, Scott's Miracle Grow, because we can't say that. So we just put the actual NPK format. But we're kind of guiding their hand to, these are the ones you probably should use. But also, this is great because we added a feature that's a soil testing calculator. So Auburn has, on our soil testing lab, we have a soil testing calculator. And so we kind of adapted that and put it in the app. And so now it's a pocket tool for our agents. So when people call in to the office and say, this is my soil test report, can you please explain to me what it is? Instead of them having to get on the computer and go to the website, they can just pull out their phone and do this. And so that was a big goal of these apps, is not only helping the end user, but also helping our agents in the field, giving them an extra tool to do their job better. And then the last one that's in review right now is called So. This one I'm really excited about, and this one's cool because this one came from our 2 agents, our non-commercial and our commercial agent in Mobile, Alabama. They had this idea. They got together. They called me and said, hey, we want to make this app. Can you help us make it? And so this was an idea straight from the agents, and we made it happen. And basically, it's a planning calendar based on today's date. So you simply select your county in Alabama, and it's going to tell you every vegetable that you can plant by today. And it'll update, every day. So vegetables will fall off. Vegetables will come on depending on what what day of the year it is. And that was based off the information from the Alabama vegetable calendar. And, this was big because it helped us answer the question when people call in, well, what can I plant? Well, then we can tell them because it's right here. Well, the next thing you probably want to know is how do we do it? Me being a horticulture background, I don't actually have great experience in Objective C++, which is for Apple, Java, which is for Android, and I can't even remember what Windows is called, but Windows has one as well. So what we did is we made hybrid apps. And so basically, this is an app that started off as a web view, like a mobile web view. So it's a website that looks really good. It's mobile friendly. And then you can then translate it onto your mobile device. And so you say, okay, well, I have this on my mobile. I have a web view. Well, how do I get it in there? I just insert it in there, just like No, you can't really do that. You have to have some type of wrapper. And so what we use, there's several of them out there, but what we use is PhoneGap. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of PhoneGap, But PhoneGap was a small company a couple years ago, and it got bought out by Adobe. And now it's part of the Adobe thing. And there's two ways you can do it. You can actually build your mobile website and give it to PhoneGap, and they'll take it to their cloud and build it and shoot you back out the app already made. Or you can do what we did and kind of have more hands-on ability, and you can actually get into the actual different programmings like Xcode and Eclipse, which is for Android and iOS, and you can actually tinker in there a little bit more. But that's what we did. So basically, you make this mobile platform. We use jQuery Mobile, which is, if you can look it up, it's pretty easy. jQuery Mobile, you can make an app in less than 2 days if you use that kind of, it's a mobile framework. It'll be jQuery Mobile, and it's jQuery. And if if you talk to your web designers, you say jQuery, they'll know jQuery because it's a JavaScript framework, and it's kind of built on that. And basically, it wraps it in there, so then you have the app, which is great because then you have one platform, you write it one time, and then you got it on Windows Phone with a little bit of work. And then a little bit more work, you can get it on Apple, and a little bit more work, you can get it on Android. So then you covered all three bases. You do it this way. Once you figure it out, you can crank an app out in 3 months. I swear you can do it. So then you say, how do you do? Well, how we do. A lot of people are scared because they make this app, and you say, all right, I'm going to make an app, but no one downloaded it. What if you work so hard and then no one came, you make this big party and no one came to your party, right? But I will say we did pretty good. So this was launched. I don't have statistics yet for fertilizer and sow because they're so new. But since April of last year, we had about 2,200 people download on the iOS device. I checked yesterday on Apple statistics, and 2,600 total for the year, from almost a year. So that was pretty good. We thought that was successful. If you kind of break it down, that's like 200 people downloaded it a month, which we were happy with. That's pretty good. Android, we only had 400, probably almost 500. I don't know why. Maybe it was just, I guess because if you look at the market share, there's a lot of, but I think that's going to increase more and more with the Android devices. Windows, we only had 200, but I think maybe there's not as many Windows phones. But what was also cool is that we were also a first place winner so there's a Windows Phone Challenge, and they encourage people who had apps on iOS and Android devices to put them on Windows phones, and you can compete in this challenge. And we actually won. We were one of the first place winners, which to us that was really big because we're a small, we're a state agency, and we competed with the big dogs and we placed. So for us, we're like, hey, we're here, we're competing, which is really cool. We were very excited about that, and they gave us a free Windows phone to test on. So we won. Everyone was a winner in that situation. And not only, that was cool, but also you think about it, we're a global enterprise now. So last year I was tracking some statistics of how many people had our app downloaded. So these are at one point in last year, these are everyone that had our app downloaded, Smart Yards in the world. And so 17 people in the Middle East were using Smart Yards, 18 people in Australia. So I don't know if any of the Aussies are here anymore, but you guys were representing, so we appreciate that. Asia had 16. South America only had 4, but I really want to bump that number up. So that's it was pretty cool to see that when you put this app in the marketplace, you're not just putting yourself in the United States. You're opening up to a huge world of people because everyone in the world now has a mobile device, and so people are there. And so it was really cool. So now the next question is, so when we did it now, where do we go from here? We made these apps, and where do we go from here? So that's the big thing I encourage. We figured out is we can't just make an app and put it in the app store. We got to keep making it better. It's not just an end product, and so we're gonna keep adding some things. In the we want to add like a native plant list for the Smart Yards app. People add some more things to the fertilizer app. My biggest goal is I really want to convert Smart Yards into other languages. I think we get more downloads if people had it in other languages, and so I really want to convert it. My next goal is to put it in Spanish. And we're going to look at putting it on some more platforms. I've been emailing the people from so Firefox, Mozilla Firefox is about to release a phone. It actually is in 14 countries, not in the United States yet, but that's something I'm going to look at in the next couple of weeks is looking at putting on the Firefox phone and try to translate it to different languages because it's in South America right now. The Firefox phone is, and so maybe we can put it down there. I don't know, and maybe contact some other agencies and see what our extension agency, see what international people they have contact with, and maybe contact them like, hey, we have this app, we'd love to work with you. And I feel like it's an open door to other places. So that's what we're that's what we're going to do. And so with this, I kind of say to you guys, if you want to build one, don't be scared, because if you build it, they'll find it, right? Don't worry about it. I think if you make it, people will find it, and they'll download it, and it'll be really cool. And then you can guys say we're in the thing, and take that to marketplace, because I know for the longest time, there maybe wasn't information there, and so private companies came in. So my goal is to science research-based information. We're going to take it back and populate the field. So thank you. That's all I got. Any questions? And I apologize if that was really fast.
No, don't apologize. That was great. Quick question. Do you say the PhoneGap, which is the software piece, that is now part of the Macromedia suite?
It's not part of, I don't know if it's part of maybe PhoneGap build, but basically it's free to download. If you build it yourself, it's free. They're just a smaller company, and Adobe bought them. But it's free. I think if you want to do the PhoneGap build, it's a service. It's like a fee-based service, but it's not very expensive.
But did you learn to do it yourself?
Yeah, I taught myself.
Okay.
And I guess it came out about 2 years ago, and so they started off at 1.1, and so I've kind of been following. I've been working at the same time as they've been doing it, so they're now in 3.3, and every time they release, they're getting better and better, and the team is huge, and they're there, and they fix, they're on top of things. So if something doesn't work, they're going with when iOS 7 updated, they're following that update. And so basically, it's your mobile wrapper, and you put your website. When you build it, you go through and it builds it. It brings you a file, and it leaves, and there's a thing. It makes a www file, and basically you take your website and you just stick it in that file, and that's really all you have to do. And then you can go in and make it more customized.
Hi. First, you're very excited, and that's making me excited, so thank you. I have 2 questions. One, how does it work with updates? So if a phone updates, do you have to update your app, and will PhoneGap do that?
Okay, so PhoneGap updates their software. When the iOS 7 rolled out, PhoneGap came out with 3.0. So they updated the features that would then translate with them. And so basically, if they have it all on their website, they have a really good documentation. And on the code side, you kind of just typed in the simple code, and it kind of updated your file for you. So it's really intuitive. And it's one of those things where every answer's on the internet. And so there's great Google groups on people. I guarantee if you come across one of these problems, somebody else has already had that problem, and there's probably already an answer. So there's a website called Stack Overflow. If you've never been on it, Stack Overflow is now your best friend if you're building apps, especially PhoneGap apps.
And then question number 2, you had fact sheets that link back to your content. Can you get metrics for that?
As far as the statistics, where I got those statistics, so Google does iTunes, or it's called iTunes Connect. They do a pretty good job, and they kind of give you a broad spectrum. My original things came from Parse Analytics, and so you can actually put it on there. And it's a lot of customizations. You can actually see which pages they are on. So Parse is one. Flurry Analytics is another one. And then technically, since this is a website, I think you could probably put in Google Analytics as well. It would run some stuff.
So you didn't have any cost associated with this, or if you did, how did you fund it?
Okay, so cost associated. So this was all, I guess I forgot to say, this was all built with, the main of it was built with, JavaScript, HTML5, and CSS, right? And so I built everything, and I did all the design myself, and so the cost was probably me. But we didn't have to go out to a third-party source, which was great. And so it's one of those things where if you had an IT team, your IT team, if you can convince them to help you out with it, it's kind of, I don't know, everyone's different. It's one of the opportunities for me. I could do it, and we went with it. I think me and my former roommate built some apps on the side using PhoneGap, and we charge I think for one app we charge $3,500, and so maybe you'd say that would be the cost, because it doesn't. I mean, you can crank one out in about 2 months. So just imagine whatever it is, per hour, and then look at 2 months of work, depending on how in depth. I mean, if you really had some time, you could make one in 2 weeks. I promise you. It's really depending on what you want, how in depth you want it to be. So I think it's a lot cheaper than going the native route. Now you may lose some things that you wouldn't do if you got a native programmer, but when you look at the situation, if you want an app, and we didn't have the money to hire an outsourced thing, so it's kind of things that if there's a will, there's a way. So we had the will, and we found the way.
I hate to keep this focused on money, but
No.
on the other side, you or whoever puts is not free. Did you have any encouragement, or do you charge for the app?
We don't. We don't charge for the app. I guess we didn't want to charge for the app. I think if we ever charged, the things we may look at is an idea we had was, in the past, maybe a state agency had a program, and then other state agencies, kind of bought that program from them. Maybe we can look at getting other extension agencies to help us fund it, maybe give us a little money, and we'll put their name on it. That may be a way. Or the second way is, Apple came to Auburn and did a roadshow one time, and they were encouraging iAds. If you think about it, the guy who makes Candy Crush, the app, that guy makes billions of dollars every day because of the little thing at the bottom that's iAds. And that's something that I thought about maybe looking into is maybe doing the iAds, because they pay you to put their ads. Now, us being a state agency, I don't know the paperwork behind that. We've not even gone down that road, but that may be a revenue source builder one day. But then you get that fine line is, how do you separate yourself in saying we don't support these ads at the bottom? They're just here because we're making money. But I don't know.
We probably have time for one more question if there's any.
Ultimately, I guess they are distributed through iTunes and
Right.
whatever the Android.
Right.
Are you able to, before you do that, get it onto your phone and your friends' phones?
Right. So you can, if you have, if your friends are in the area, you can put them on your phone through your computer. But also think, you originally make it as a website, so technically you could just put it on your server and send it to anyone who wants to edit it and tell them, hey, just take your browser and size it down to it looks like a mobile, and then they have the mobile app because it technically is a website. And so that's the way you can get around, people want to peer review. You could send it, that's what we do. We send it to them this way. Here's the link. Make your browser window look like a mobile device, and then there's the app, and you can test it. And I'll be here afterwards. I'm very passionate about it. I'd love to talk. I can talk to you all about it. There's a lot of trials and problems I've found, and I have the answers. A lot of the answers I've already figured out. So
Thank
please
you very
ask me
much.
instead of beating your head against the wall.
Thank you, Tyler.